Tonight, breaking news, former President Obama, former First Lady Michelle Obama set to speak a short time from now, supporting Kamala Harris. And Harris tonight is elsewhere with big crowds in Milwaukee at the convention hall where Donald Trump held his convention just weeks ago. Also tonight, the chilling new video, Americans Among the Missing. And tonight, you'll see the images of that 180-foot boat sinking in seconds and the deadly plane crash into a neighborhood, several homes up in flames. First tonight, the Democratic National Convention, former President Obama, former First Lady Michelle Obama, right here in prime time on ABC Tonight. While Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz are not in Chicago, they're in Milwaukee tonight, the same place where Trump held his convention weeks ago. The giant crowds lining up tonight. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, meanwhile, counter-programming this convention in the swing states. Trump in Michigan, his speech on crime today. Also tonight, the chilling new images here. Americans Among the Missing, the 180-foot boat sinking within seconds off the coast of Sicily. The video tonight, the boat vanishing in a matter of seconds. At least 15 survivors. A mother who says she held her baby above the waves to survive. Tonight, Israel's war with Hamas, the breaking headline coming in on this urgent effort to get a ceasefire and the hostages, with the bodies of 6 more hostages now found. Tonight, the Ukrainian offensive inside Russia, our Ian panel close to the border. And tonight, Vladimir Putin now talking about the Ukrainians inside Russia for the first time in days. Tonight, the newly released images of the gunman back here in the U.S. who shot former President Trump at that rally at Butler, Pennsylvania, walking the fairgrounds less than 2 hours before the shooting. The deadly small plane crash into a neighborhood tonight, the images coming in, several homes up in flames. Tonight, the FAA ordering new inspections on Boeing 787 jets after that sudden plunge. They now say the captain's seat slipped during the flight, bumping into the autopilot, disengaging the system, causing the plane to rapidly descend. The major news tonight on 2 popular drugs used for weight loss and obesity, and the new findings when it comes to preventing diabetes. And tonight here, the images, Taylor Swift and the young survivors of that attack. She was determined to meet them.
From ABC News, this is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, reporting tonight from Chicago.
And good evening tonight from Chicago. We are coming to you from the Democratic National Convention, Night 2, the theme For the People, For Our Future. And tonight it turns out they have planned events in 2 locations. Here in Chicago, former President Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama will speak here supporting Kamala Harris. We will carry it live in prime time here on ABC, 10 p.m. Eastern. While at the same time, Vice President Kamala Harris is elsewhere. Harris and her running mate, Governor Tim Walz, speaking to a crowd of thousands tonight, gathered in Milwaukee at the same convention center where Donald Trump held his convention just weeks ago. Here in Chicago tonight, former President Obama, former First Lady Michelle Obama will make the case for their longtime friend Kamala Harris. They plan to send the message tonight that they believe she is now the one to carry hope and change forward in this country. It comes after President Biden passed the torch to his vice president last night in a stirring speech on night 1, saying he loves his job but loves his country more. And Hillary Clinton, the first woman nominee of a major party for president, with a deeply personal message here overnight about what she now sees on the other side of that glass ceiling. It moved the crowd here. Meantime, tonight, the images coming in from Milwaukee at this hour, long lines waiting to get in to hear Kamala Harris and Tim Walz make their case in a swing state, knowing the Obamas will be making the case in front of the nation tonight. We have it all covered, including Donald Trump in the battlegrounds, what he said today in Michigan about his opponent, and particularly about crime. ABC Chief White House Correspondent Mary Bruce leading us off on the floor right here in Chicago tonight.
Tonight, Vice President Kamala Harris joining her convention from Milwaukee, where thousands lined up to watch her speak in the same arena where Donald Trump accepted the Republican nomination.
This is a people-powered campaign, and together we will chart a new way forward.
Harris beaming in remotely to her own convention in Chicago. Later tonight, Barack Obama, who electrified the nation with his vision of hope and change, will argue Harris is now the one to carry that vision forward. Tonight, Obama's expected to reinforce the message from the convention speech he gave 20 years ago that catapulted him to the national stage.
There is not a liberal America and a conservative America. There is the United States of America.
And joining him tonight, former First Lady Michelle Obama, one of the party's most popular figures, who memorably took on Donald Trump at the 2016 convention.
When someone is cruel or acts like a bully, you don't stoop to their level. No, our motto is, when they go low, we go high.
That year, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by nearly 3 million, but lost the electoral vote to Trump, falling short in her bid to become the first female president. Now, she sees Harris as the one to finally shatter that glass ceiling.
I want to tell you what I see through all those cracks and why it matters for each and every one of us. What do I see? I see freedom. And you know what? On the other side of that glass ceiling is Kamala Harris raising her hand and taking the oath of office as our 47th President of the United States.
The convention now looking ahead, reintroducing Kamala Harris to the nation after President Biden passed the torch, saying he loves his job, but loves the country more.
Selecting Kamala was the very first decision I made when I became our nominee. And it was the best decision I made my whole career.
President Biden passing the torch here last night. Mary Bruce joins us again this evening. Mary, the Obamas about to take center stage right here in Chicago tonight. But there's going to be a split screen of sorts, a component of dueling images here at this convention. Vice President Kamala Harris, we know, will not be here. We saw her in your report there last night here. Instead, Harris travels to the battleground of Wisconsin. So we've got the Obamas here in Chicago before the country, and Harris in Milwaukee. We'll likely see her as well tonight.
Yeah, and David, this is a very rare move. Kamala Harris not actually here tonight. She will be speaking there tonight at the same site where Donald Trump held his convention just over a month ago. A not-so-subtle jab at the former president, but it is likely we will see some of that event, and Kamala Harris here remotely in the hall tonight, David.
Mary Bruce with the Star-Spangled Banner right behind her. Mary, thank you tonight. Mary, and then the entire Powerhouse political team will be right here for us. Night 2 of the Democratic National Convention. You can hear the applause for the end of the anthem here, beginning tonight, streaming on ABC News Live at 7 p.m. Eastern, and then, of course, right here on the network, 10 p.m. Eastern, ABC Tonight, 10 p.m. for former President Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama. We'll see you right here. Meantime, former President Trump and his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, counter-programming the Democrats' convention in battleground states. Trump in Michigan today, focusing on crime, making an appeal to suburban women in America. Here's ABC's Rachel Scott tonight.
Donald Trump in battleground Michigan today, hoping to steal some of the thunder from his rival's convention. The former president's focus today, crime.
You can't walk across the street to get a loaf of bread. You get shot, you get mugged, you get raped, you get whatever it may be. And you've seen it, and I've seen it, and it's time for a change.
But recent statistics show violent crime falling in nearly 70 major cities across the country, including a 17% decrease in homicides compared to the same period around last year. President Biden hammering the point on the convention stage.
The murder rate is falling faster than any time in history. Violent crime has dropped to the lowest level of more than 50 years. And crime will keep coming down when we put a prosecutor in the Oval Office instead of a convicted felon.
In Michigan today, Trump keenly aware crime could be a potent political issue for a key group of voters, suburban women.
I keep hearing about the suburban woman doesn't like Trump. Well, I think it's a fake poll, because why would they like me? I keep the suburbs safe. I hope they like my personality. I have a nice personality. But to me, it wouldn't be very important, the personality. They want to be safe.
So let's bring in Rachel Scott back with us tonight. She's down on the convention floor as well. And Rachel, Donald Trump obviously very aware, likely aware that a familiar face will actually be appearing tonight here at the Democratic National Convention, someone who once worked for him.
A very familiar face, David. Stephanie Grisham was one of the longest-serving advisors in the Trump administration. She was Donald Trump's White House press secretary. She also served as the chief of staff to Melania Trump. She ultimately resigned on January 6th, calling it a breaking point. She says tonight she never thought she would be speaking at a Democratic National Convention, but says that she loves her country more than her party and that Harris has her vote. David.
Rachel Scott live down on the floor for us. Rachel, thank you. We'll see you in prime time. In the meantime, we turn to the other news here tonight, and from Italy this evening, the chilling images, several Americans among the missing, and now the video of that 180-foot boat sinking in a severe storm off the coast of Sicily. The boat vanishing in just a matter of seconds. At least 15 survivors and a mother who says she held her baby above the waves to survive this. Here's James Longman.
Tonight, the moment a luxury yacht sinks off the coast of Sicily with 22 people on board. This new footage captures the 184-foot boat trapped in a sudden fierce storm. You can see the yacht with its lighted mast as it starts to tilt before disappearing beneath the surface within seconds. The Beijing had one of the tallest masts in the world at 246 feet. Here it is, anchored offshore just hours before that storm lashed the coastline.
It's a strong orkan gust, very strong. They went flat on the water, and then down.
This nearby boat captain spotting and saving 15 survivors in a raft. So far, one body has been recovered. 6 people are still missing, including 2 Americans, New York lawyer Chris Morvillo and his wife Neda, Jonathan Bloomer, chairman at Morgan Stanley International and his wife, and the owner of the yacht, British tech tycoon Mike Lynch and his teenage daughter. Divers are now searching for them, but to reach the wreckage 160 feet deep, they can only work in 12-minute shifts. Among the survivors, Charlotte Golinsky, her husband, and 1-year-old daughter Sophie, today released from the hospital. Golinsky told an Italian newspaper she held her baby above the waves until they were rescued.
David, the Coast Guard says the recovery mission is complex, and the divers say that furniture is blocking the windows to the cabins, which means they may have to break through the hull to gain access. David?
James Longman with us tonight. James, thank you. Now to Israel's war with Hamas, the developing headline at this hour in this urgent effort to get a ceasefire and the hostages released, with the bodies of 6 more hostages now found. 109 hostages still being held, including it's believed 8 Americans. ABC's Britt Clennett with us live from Israel tonight with late reporting. Britt, what have you learned?
David, tonight, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken leaves the Middle East without a deal. Blinken saying that Israel had accepted a bridging proposal touting a pathway that would end the suffering in Gaza and the threat of a regional war on the tarmac in Doha, saying that time is of the essence. One Israeli official tonight accusing Netanyahu of sabotaging negotiations. Hamas dismissing the proposal, accusing the U.S. of aligning with new conditions imposed by Israel, which cross its red lines, including demands for the withdrawal of Israeli forces. Now, the desperation of these talks underlined as the IDF recovered 6 more bodies of hostages from Gaza today, 109 remaining, including 8 Americans. David?
Of course, all of this a major issue right here at the convention and in this presidential race. Britt Clennett tonight. Thank you, Britt. Tonight, the Ukrainian offensive inside Russia continues, cutting off large numbers of Russian troops. And tonight, Vladimir Putin talking about the Ukrainians now inside Russia for the first time in days. Here's our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, close to the border tonight.
Tonight, Ukraine's assault on Russian soil intensifies. New video showing fierce fighting in a small Russian town in the Kursk region. Ukraine appears close to cutting off a large number of Russian troops trapped close to the Sym River. One Ukrainian source telling ABC News there are more than 1,000 Russian soldiers in the area, largely stranded after 3 key bridges were destroyed. Here, a Ukrainian attack drone targets Russian troops trying to build a pontoon bridge across the river. Vladimir Putin talking about the Ukrainians inside Russia for the first time in more than a week today, promising to punish what he calls the criminals. His citizens increasingly concerned. Of course I'm worried, Yulia says. I have a child. It's war. Igor says the enemy must be eliminated. But the greatest suffering is still inside Ukraine. Leonid and Olena live close to the border, bombed 9 times just today.
Everyone else has left. Your house is badly damaged. It's a very dangerous area. There's an active war going on. Why are you still here?
It's our land. We don't want to go anywhere, Olena says. Why should I? It's my Ukraine.
David, amid questions and concerns about this offensive, the Pentagon tonight saying it's now in close contact with the Ukrainians about their long-term objectives, adding Russia is still struggling to respond. David?
Ian Pannell inside Ukraine, not far from the Russian border. Ian, thank you. Back here in the U.S. tonight, newly released images this evening of the gunman who shot former President Trump at that rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. The brief clip shows Thomas Crooks walking through a row of vendors at the fairgrounds less than 2 hours before the shooting, but without the rifle he later used. Several officers identified Crooks as suspicious well before the shooting. New trouble for Boeing tonight. The FAA ordering new inspections on Boeing 787 jets after that sudden plunge. They now say the captain's seat slipped during the flight, bumping into the autopilot, disengaging the system, causing the plane to rapidly descend. Here tonight, Trevor Ault.
Tonight, the FAA ordering new safety inspections on Boeing 787 jets after a string of concerning incidents, including these terrifying moments aboard a LATAM Airlines flight from Australia to New Zealand in March. The FAA now saying an uncommanded movement of the captain's seat caused the control column input to disconnect the autopilot, resulting in a rapid descent, sending passengers and crew flying to the ceiling, more than a dozen injured.
I saw heads, a few neck braces being applied, people being patched up with cuts and bruises.
The FAA says they've since received 4 additional reports of similar incidents, now requiring inspections of the captain's and first officer's seats.
The switch is the one that controls the electric seat for the captain. If it runs away, it's not going to cause the airplane to crash, but it will cause a problem in pushing the captain against the yoke and causing maybe a sudden loss of altitude.
And David, the FAA says these inspections will impact 158 planes nationwide, and it comes as Boeing is grounding a test fleet of a new plane, the 777X, after post-flight inspections found a failure in a part that holds the engines in place. So Boeing says they're going to be replacing that part, then they'll resume testing when they're ready. David?
All right, Trevor Ault. Trevor, thank you for that. When we come back tonight, the images coming in, the deadly small plane crash into a neighborhood, several homes up in flames, more in a moment. We also have major news on 2 popular drugs used for weight loss and diabetes, and the powerful images tonight, Taylor Swift and the young survivors she was determined to meet. Tonight, here are the images coming in after a deadly plane crash in Odessa, Texas. The small plane slamming into a store just after takeoff, setting several homes then on fire. 2 people on board were killed in the crash. A woman was rescued from her burning home. Witnesses say it appeared the plane hit some power lines before going down. The sheriff says it appears the pilot was trying to avoid the homes. When we come back here tonight, the extraordinary images in the Northeast, the home collapsing after so much rain. Also, the new study tonight, the new findings involving 2 popular drugs used for weight loss. And those images tonight, Taylor Swift and the survivors. To the index of other news, and tonight's stunning images showing the moment a house collapsed following the heavy rains in the Northeast and historic flooding in Oxford, Connecticut. The home's foundation actually giving way, the house spilling into the rushing waters. That family safely getting out in time. Tonight, a promising new study about the popular weight loss and diabetes drugs Zepbound and Monjouro. Eli Lilly says a new trial shows the key ingredient, tirzepatide, may actually also reduce the risk of developing type 2 diabetes by 94% among high-risk patients. The company also says patients who took the highest dose lost an average of 30% of their body weight over a 3-year period. When we come back on the broadcast tonight, the moment. Taylor Swift, the young survivors, and what one mother said after the moment. Finally tonight here, Taylor Swift and the young survivors. Tonight, a grateful mother sharing these powerful images. Her 2 daughters with Taylor Swift. They were both victims of that knife attack at a Taylor Swift-themed dance class in England just weeks ago. Mom Sammy Foster there with her family, including her 2 young daughters, Hope and Autumn, and Taylor Swift. Taylor hugging the girls, a bandage still visible on one of their arms. Taylor Swift had invited the survivors and their families to her London shows at Wembley Stadium. Their mother sharing the photos online, referencing the lyrics to one of Swift's songs, writing, "You drew stars around my scars." The biggest thank you to Taylor Swift and her mom for making the most magical night possible for us all. Thank you for bringing Hope and Autumn pure happiness last night and always. The stabbing attack took the lives of 3 young girls, ages 6, 7, and 9. 8 more children and 2 adults were injured. Taylor Swift saying at the time, "These were just little kids at a dance class. I am at a complete loss for how to ever convey my sympathies to these families." And as so many across the UK and the world grieve the tragedy, today King Charles III meeting the survivors too, a heartfelt gesture from the King. And Taylor Swift tonight holding her fans close. Powerful moment. We'll see you tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern right here on ABC. Former President Obama, former First Lady Michelle Obama take the stage for Kamala Harris. I'll see you at 10 p.m. Eastern. Until then, good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.